And do you want to just start from scratch and me do the...
Yeah, sure.
Oh, we're now streaming live. Okay, awesome. I'm just finishing my come over here post.
Yeah, go for it. Yeah.
Okay, I'm just typing. I can't type and speak at the same time. I'm not good at that. Right, there we go. So if anybody was stuck over on the Love Lali page, that they've now got a signpost to find us over at your place. So this is Linda Emsley, and I'm visiting Brigid today at her place to have a chat to her about being a publisher, writing a book, contributing a chapter to her upcoming multi-author book, and just to find out a little bit more about what's motivated Brigid to put this all together. So I know we're all at her place and you're probably all familiar with Brigid, but I might just go through her bio again because she's up to some really good stuff. So Brigid Holder is the founder and CEO of the Art of Grace Publishing House. She is an international best-selling publisher and author and lives in a small rural town in Australia where she's working on her next project, planning to become a Wall Street Journal best-selling author. Brigid is a successful businesswoman in a traditional business with her husband, alongside the publishing house, which is ready to deliver its second multi-author book to the world. Brigid has a mission to share the story of at least 180 women to allow others the permission to change their circumstances. She says through writing, we are creative, then we can release past trauma and grant permission to others to do the same. So it's my absolute pleasure to be talking with Brigid tonight. Brigid, how about you tell us a little bit more about yourself?
Thank you, Linda. Sorry about our tech issues. I'm not sure what happened there, but we're live, and hopefully your people on your page are able to find us, and if not, we can share it over there later. So thank you for arranging this and for asking to speak with me. It is an honor for me to actually put multi-author books together, and I feel like it's something that I was born to do, and I'm really loving the opportunity to meet new authors and hear about their stories and to share those stories, so it gives others permission to change their life and to live it in a way that is more ease and grace for them, and not have to go through, you know, make the same mistakes that we have made or have the same struggles that we have had from reading our stories. They get to learn our lessons before they have to go through that. Or if they're in the midst of it, they can actually see what's possible out the other side.
And that's, you know, really powerful. I can remember, you know, as a new mum with a brand new baby, and there's just no instruction manual anywhere.
No.
There's no off button for the baby. And, you know, the only books that you can find tell you what the best case scenario is. This is what your baby should be doing, and this is how it should be working, and blah, 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 blah. And I do remember you hearing you say actually recently that, you know, the book we're currently both working on together is a place where we take away the should, what motherhood should be, and change it to what motherhood could be. And I think that that is just so powerful. That just opens up so many possibilities. So do you want to share a little bit about where you're coming from and why you wanted to create such a book?
Yeah, I originally thought that it is called F Motherhood, which we don't write that too often because social media doesn't like swearing too much.
Yeah. But as a mum.
I know, right?
Yeah.
Originally I thought it was a book for me to write. The idea dropped in after I did a course, and I had to share something vulnerable to me, and I had hidden the fact that I didn't like motherhood and I was not enjoying it. I found it really difficult to do, and I pretended that everything was okay all the time. Now my kids were perfect. You know, I think one of them had colic, and we were in hospital for 3 nights, and the other one had nothing until I think he was 9 months old, and he kept on getting tonsillitis, but never had anything longer than a night or 2 in hospital. And they slept through the night. They were perfect. They met their milestones and did everything in those books that was supposed to happen. And I found it really boring. And I felt a lot of shame and guilt around that. And as I shared that story through Facebook Lives, I did a series of 5 Facebook Lives that went for half an hour each and shared part of my story through that. And I said things that I never thought that I would speak out loud to anyone, and told everybody who was listening on Facebook. And, some of those videos had over 1,000 views. And I was like, there's got to be something to this. And then I thought that F Motherhood was a book for me to write. And I got to chapter 3. So I've written 2 chapters about my journey. And I got to chapter 3 and kept on getting stuck. And then I began the publishing house and did Intuitive Knowing Her Truth, which was the first book published by the Art of Grace Publishing House. And I was like, that's why I'm stuck, because it's not for me, it's for every mother. So I made it into a multi-author book, volume 1, I called it, so that my other chapter can go into another volume of the book. So it's and I think also some of the stories that I have heard from are things that I'd never heard before. So some of the contributors that are coming into the book are stories that I had never heard before. And, the opportunity to become a mum, one of them, asking a friend to be the donor, things like that, you just do not fathom occurring because nobody talks about it. And I don't think that that's fair, because if that's the way that you want to choose to become a mum, then that's okay, because it's your choice. And I think that's the biggest thing that I want to have everybody to take away from this is you can take all the advice from everyone who wants to give you advice, but do it your own way anyway. And having that choice is something that I don't feel I had, and I don't want other mothers to go through that.
Yeah. And I think there's also this sense of, it's not necessarily secrecy, but there's kind of this conditioning, this programming about, and I don't even know if it's a conscious expectation, but this idea that you automatically know how to be a mum and you know the right way to do it. And when you are struggling and when it is difficult, it's kind of like a shameful thing to put your hand up and say, it's not all bright and rosy on the inside here, and I don't actually really know what I'm doing. There's this sense that we have to portray to the world that we're fine and we're coping and we're doing it perfectly well. Thank you very much. So I think it's really powerful and really important, this conversation that you've opened up by creating this book, to let everybody know that we've got to get rid of this taboo. You can't raise a child in isolation by yourself and pretend that it's all okay. It is all right to actually reach out and say, can I just have some help here, please? Things aren't going well. Or things are going great and I'm doing it my way. So can you just butt out, please?
Yeah, exactly. And that's so true, because there's the unschooling mother who is in the book that faced judgment at every corner and probably still does. And, her kids are thriving. And I don't think that it's okay for us to dictate, or society to dictate, that that's not okay when it is. And it's just different ways of doing things, and perhaps going back to ways that things were done many, many, many years ago is could be the right way. Who are we to say that it's right or wrong, how somebody raises their children, or how you deal with your baby, or how you go back to work, when you go back to work, or how you choose to stay at home and do everything naturally, or however it is that you mother. It doesn't matter, as long as it's your choice and you do the best thing that is what you believe the best thing possible for your child. I was going to say something. My son was trying to interrupt me, asking me if he could have a shower. The shower's right behind my door. And I'm in my bedroom because everybody's at home, and I'm like, they're all watching TV shows or doing homework or whatever. And he's like, come in, can I have a shower?
The choice of being a
I
mum.
remember now what I was going to say. I was
Yeah.
flicking through the channels last night. I don't watch television very often. I will turn the TV on and watch a Netflix show that is, you know, brain numbing, that I don't have to think. And I turned the TV and it wouldn't work. My internet was down last night, and so Netflix wouldn't work, but normal TV was working. So I was just flicking through the channels and came across I can't remember the name of the show, but it's like a forum where they have an audience who participate in a conversation. It's on the ABC, and the woman who runs it is like, she asks the audience questions and she moves from person to person throughout the audience, and perhaps goes back to the same person a few times. And the topic was about choice around birth, and I was like, this is fantastic. I know Colleen Regan Noon put out a book in her publishing house, Wise Women Collective, I think it's called. I'm sorry, Colleen, if I got that wrong, but she put out a book called Baby Got a V Back, and I was like, what does that mean? I didn't even know what that meant. And I thought, after I learned what that meant, I was like, that is ridiculous. That I've had 2 children, and the second one was a cesarean. The first one was a natural birth, and it was horrendous. It should have been a cesarean, but I could not believe that I did not know at 49 years of age, or it was 48 when the book came out, that I did not know what a VBAC was. And for those who don't know, vaginal birth after cesarean. And I was like, well, why isn't that okay? Like, why do we have to do a book on this? Like, and it was like, oh, Brigid, this is something that the doctors don't want to do. You know, if you've had a cesarean,
controversial option,
yeah,
that one. Yeah.
And I was like, oh, okay. Well, I never knew any of this, and I thought, there's so much to do around birth and motherhood that people do not talk about. That, you know, I'm so pleased that Colleen did this book, and then she's done another one that's infertility, and it's just, you know, things like that, and this book to disrupt society and disrupt the common theme, like you said before, to get that opportunity out there for other people to learn, so that they can make informed choices.
Yeah. Absolutely. And to shift the norm, I think, you know, I'm going to get onto my soapbox a little bit here, but a lot of women's stuff, you know, has stuff that's natural that we should or could or would normally be able to do naturally has been medicalized. And it's not that I'm detracting from modern medicine, because, you know, there are definitely times when there's no choice, you know, to be safe for healthy mum, healthy baby, you know, medical intervention is required. But it's not the norm.
No.
But we've been made to believe that's normal. It's normal to have medical intervention for birthing. It's normal to have medical intervention for any women's issue. You know, it's all medical problem. It's not a natural part of your womanly cycle. So I do think conversation around those things is really important, just as it is around being a mum itself and choosing to do it. I think our society is in such a lucky position that, you know, we have the luxury, certainly in the Western world, to cherry pick, you know, to look back at the past and look at the mistakes that we've made and say, okay, well, that didn't work so well, but this was working really well. Let's bring that back in. That doesn't work so well. Let's try it this way. But we don't. We just go, this is the way we've always done it. This is the way we'll just keep doing it.
And that's so true. And I think that not that every male obstetrician is like this, but I had a male obstetrician, and he was very adamant that he knew everything about birth and how it should be done or would be done. I had blood clotting when I was my blood clotted, so I was in risk of having a clot travel to my lungs, and I had to have injections every day during my pregnancies, and it was something that he sort of made very blasé. But when I went to, because I had such a horrendous birth, my baby was almost 13 pounds, first one, and had a vaginal birth, so it was very traumatic, and, you know, still to this day have issues with my lady parts because of that. And after going to a female obstetrician who had 7 children and had birthed them all herself, it was like, why did I ever think that I should have gone to a man? Like, it was just, the thought just crossed my mind when I was talking to her one day, and I've never let that thought go. And I was like, it's almost not okay that he's allowed to be an obstetrician, and the lack of information that I got. And, he said to me, you don't have to do any classes or anything. It'll be fine. Women have been having babies for years. So that became my language. Women have been having babies for years. I don't need to look at this stuff. Read books and stuff about it, but didn't really, I don't know. I feel like the books 15 years ago that I read that were probably 15 years old were all sugar-coated and didn't really talk about the what if. And if you have blood clotting, this could happen, and you might need a transfusion, and then you might end up with an infection, and that might mean that your baby can't breastfeed, and that will mean you will get mastitis, and that will mean, like all of this stuff that happened to me, and none of it, not one conversation was had with me of what might happen. You should be prepared for this. You get a disease and they tell you everything that's going to happen to you, regardless of, the possibilities are endless. And, from breast cancer survivors, you hear that the first time they heard it, and they're told you have this percentage of survival, and, a lot of them are above 50%, a lot of them are below 50%, and then they come out and they're fine after they have some sort of treatment, or they look after themselves in a holistic way. Some of them, it is too late, but what I'm trying to say is they're given all these things of what might happen, and then they can go and investigate for themselves and make informed choices. Doesn't happen with birth, doesn't happen when you're pregnant, doesn't happen when you become a mother. They don't tell you about what might happen up here and what you might feel in here. And it's not right. And I just want to be able to share some of those stories, because it's impossible to share them all, but to share some of those stories to help women to know that they're not alone, and that this journey is something that there still can't be a handbook for it, because everybody is going to experience it differently, and every child is completely different. So yeah,
absolutely. I think just knowing that there are other people out there who've faced some difficult choices and made difficult choices and come through the other side, really powerful and positive and strong. I think that really makes a difference when you're at a bit of a crossroads yourself, even if the situation isn't exactly the same. If you've got that example before you of somebody else has been in a hard place, and this is how they managed it, and look at them now, gives you that impetus, that hope, and some information to make a decision to help yourself. I have to say, Brigid, when I saw what you were putting together, I just had this whole body response to it. Fuck yeah, I've got a story to tell. In fact, I didn't actually know which one to share. I had so many to choose from. But yeah, it's a beautiful healing process to be a part of, in revisiting a very difficult time of your life and looking for what the lessons are out of that, and how you would handle it differently, and how you hope that sharing this experience can help other women. But it's not just that, it's the group that's been created around this book. The other authors that are contributing, their stories are just incredible. They are so inspiring. And, particularly the unschooling, I've never come across that concept before. So it's really exciting. And I'm kind of like, I wish I'd known about this about 20 years ago. It would have made a huge difference, I think.
Yeah.
But it's not just that, it's that sense of sisterhood and solidarity of, kind of going through a rite of passage and sharing some really difficult times and helping each other through this process. It's really beautiful. So I know that you've got this book earmarked as volume 1. Hang on, I've just got a little visitor.
Yeah, it is. It is earmarked as volume 1, and it is something that we are, planning on doing another volume sometime in the future. I don't know when that will be, but volume 1 is for stories of when the children were between 0 and 10. So it can be a birth story, or it can be a pre-birth story. But I just wanted to give that opportunity for the book to actually have a next phase. I mean, my boys are now 12 and almost 15, and I've already I could write a whole nother book,
Well, the reason I asked is because I actually got contacted by someone when they saw I was going to be talking to you. They said, "Oh, do you think you'll be doing any stories about adult children?" And I'm like, well, that's a conversation that needs to be had too, because I mean, you never stop being a mum.
No, that's right.
There are some really difficult stories out there about what it's like being a mum of adult children, and the things, that can go awry in those relationships at that stage.
Yeah.
So, there's scope there for a really, really big conversation, a really extended conversation.
Yeah, there is. And that excites me too, because I think that, I'm not there yet, but I'm the child of a mother. And I sometimes actually think more about what I do and say, and how I behave with my mum. And I think that it's something, because I have the utmost respect for her and what she has done and what she went through, and how she became a mum, and her story would be a whole book as well. And I think that it's something that, when you become a mother yourself, that level of respect for your mother just goes from here to here. So it doesn't, you can't explain it. And it's just not the people that don't go and have children, and perhaps don't become mothers, like women don't become mothers, don't have that level of respect for their mother. It's just it just is different. It's not,
it's like, right, I get it.
I get why she used to get cross at me so much.
And you know what? Now I sound just like my mum.
I don't, because I swear all the time, and my mother never swears.
Oh, well, yeah, apart from the F-bomb, no, mum never said that. And it was always sugar and hell's bells.
Oh dear, that's funny. Linda, you did mention when we were trying to do it via StreamYard and we couldn't get the sound to work, you did mention about my Wall Street Journal book. So
yes, tell us a bit about that.
Yeah, so I'm contributing to another multi-author book. It's called, Adriana will kill me, Letters to Your Younger Self, I believe.
That's familiar.
Yeah. I could have got that mixed around a little bit, but that's the general gist of it. And just, the story that I've shared in there is something that is very vulnerable to me. And I'm the product of a domestic violence relationship, and it really did affect who I became. And I remember an incident in particular, and that's what I've written about, that incident when that happened, to tell that younger me of now what I know, that I knew that she was going to be okay. And that process, because I wrote my chapter for Fuck Motherhood so long ago, I'm not going through the emotions like you guys are right now, but writing for this Wall Street Journal bestseller book, which is the intention behind the book, by the way, it's the emotions, the emotional roller coaster ride is definitely there. And I look forward to that coming out and seeing the other authors' chapters in that, as well as the Fuck Motherhood book, because it's just so nice to know, everybody else's stories. And I think that stories are so powerful, and you just don't know who you're going to impact. When I did the first multi-author book called Trailblazers back in, I think it was 2019, September 2019, and I got 130 messages from women that I didn't know saying thank you for sharing your story. And I didn't go on. I think one of those people worked with me when I used to be a mother's mentor, and it wasn't about that for me though. It was like that impact, I was like, I've just affected 130 people's lives, and they have children, and then, you know, that's going to impact on them, and they have partners, and that ripple effect that stories create is what, you know, really drives me and the publishing house, the Art of Grace Publishing House, to share women's stories and change the lives and give permission to others to change their lives. So I love it.
Yeah, I think it was really that ethic behind the work that you do that really attracted me in the first place. And then when you said what your book was about, I'm like, yeah, I definitely have to be a part of this.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah.
So, Brigid, I know that, you know, we've been working together for a few weeks now, but we still have some places available in the book. Is that right? We've still
yes, we do. Yeah, we do. There's at least 10 places still available. So if you have a story,
fabulous.
if you have a story and you know Linda, please do get in touch with Linda and ask her to show you the short video about what it's all about and how it works and what you get for participating in the project. And other than that process of the emotional roller coaster ride and having a cathartic experience while you're writing is you know, there is more to it, and it is really fun. And I think that what you said before about the community that comes out of it is something that I love seeing blossom, and it's really nice. I mean, you could see it today on our call when we did our Zoom call, and you know, a couple of the women were saying, well, you know, I can support you on that because this is what I do, and you know, gave you confidence, and each other gave confidence and reiterated that, you know, I felt the same way. And you know, the whole community thing is already starting, and these interviews that you're doing with each other and with me, it's a wonderful thing to see blossom.
Fantastic. So I don't really have any more questions for you. Is there anything else that you wanted to leave us with tonight?
I do. I want to say that you know, no matter what you believe about your story does matter, and that if you are brave enough to share your story, you will impact the lives of others and give others the permission that they need to change their life. And I was sitting in that position back in early 2019 when this opportunity arose for me, and I can't believe the difference that I've made in other people's lives. And I've often heard women say when they come into the book that if I can just, you know, impact one woman, that would be a blessing for me. And I know it's going to be far more than that. So, you know, come and join us if you've got a story when your children were 0 to 10, and join F Motherhood Volume 1, and you'll see how a ripple effect occurs.
Yeah, fantastic. Thank you so much for your time tonight, Brigid.
Thank you.
Let you go, knowing that you've just had a really big day. And I really appreciate you just racing through the door and making all the technology work and having this wonderful chat. So thank you.
That's all right. My pleasure. Thanks so much, Linda.
Okay.
I'll see you again soon.
See you soon.